People, where did we go wrong? Where did we as a society just go to the cliff and say, you know what, screw it, and just jumped off? Uh, It it amazes me. It amazes me. It honestly does. How's everybody doing? Look at my hair. We looking good? Looking a little wild. Um, I try not to judge people. I mean, I'm one of those individuals now. Do I sometimes look at people and understand, okay, that person is this kind of individual or that kind of individual? Yeah. Most of the time it's right, sometimes it's wrong. But try not to judge. You try to let people be each their own. But man almighty, is it just getting dumber out there? Um I saw this quote, and of course they always put like it's like a picture of a movie of people talking, but and then they put like words over it and has nothing to do with that particular movie, that actor. But it was the world is not getting dumber. Dumber people are just being able to be heard more. And that comes with this tool that is social media, mostly Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, in which it's and anything goes. The freedom of speech, which hey, that's fine, that's cool. Um, you should be allowed to say what you want to say. I'm totally for that. Do what you need to do. Say what you want to say. I have no issues against people speaking their mind. I mean, obviously, I'm here, and I'm pretty sure I've said some dumb things in a few of these videos that you could point out, but I try to keep it on a level that I'm not going to talk about things that I don't know about, or I'm not going to claim that Bigfoot is real when I know that he's not. I mean, come on. It's been 60 some odd years, 70 some odd years since those first famous pictures came out, and every picture that we get is either blurry as hell, like a drunk toddler took the picture, or it's clearly somebody in a mask, or clearly a CGI bullshit. Um, Bigfoot, like, let's stop this nonsense. It's a great hobby for people to have. I get it. If you want to go out in the woods and play fantasy, by all means do it, but let's not try to act like this stuff is real. I mean, we have to face some sense of reality here. Um, but yeah, so I think as a whole, the world is not getting dumber. I think it's always been dumb on some level, but we are allowing the dumb and stupid people more of a voice and more of a say in things when 10, 15 years ago, they wouldn't have, and they would have been kept in a dark spot, and basically fed mushrooms in a closet somewhere or under somebody's basement, and nobody would have paid attention to them. The reason I'm bringing this up is there's a few things. One, so I don't know if well everybody's probably had seen this, but you had the SpaceX. Um, Elon went up there and got those two astronauts that had been up there for almost a year. I think it was like 10 months, and brought them back down. They landed in the Gulf of Mexico, where some of you want to continue on with this nonsense, the Gulf of America. And yeah, the capsule landed in the Gulf, and they were picked up. Well, surprisingly, you have people saying it's fake. And I've seen the ones about it being the worst CGI um, effects, that they actually filmed it in a sound, not a sound studio, but like on a stage lot in California. That there's no the capsule wasn't bobbing up and down in the water in the ocean. And you have people that have either no self awareness or no knowledge of physics or no knowledge of science in general, that are just speaking their mind. And this guy right here is a hoot. First off, if you see, he has a hat on that says Ice Wall. That right there should tell you enough that this guy probably has drank and smoked a lot, a lot of his brain cells away. Because he's one of these individuals that believes there's an ice wall surrounding the entire Earth. And beyond that ice wall, because the Earth is flat, excuse me, he's a flat earther too. And beyond that ice wall are other continents that the governments of the world are keeping us away from. And that's why when you go to South America, you're pushed away by military, and you can never go around. Sorry, this is making me laugh. You can never go around the ice wall because it surrounds the whole Earth. The whole the whole knowledge of the fact that you're actually traveling in a circle around, around, around South America, or not South America, around Antarctica, completely. It's just they'll ignore you on that aspect. It's because the wall. It's because the wall. But let's hear what this guy had to say about how this whole thing was fake.
You know who I find just absolutely adorable? You. You, if
By
you
the way, he
believe.
looks like he is super intelligent. I mean, he's got the low IQ eyes. Looks like he smoked a bowl all day. Um, he looks like some frat boy that just woke up, took a snort of coke, and then hit the natural lights. And when somebody asked him, "What are you gonna have for breakfast?" he just held up a can and said, "My breakfast is right here."
You believe any of this Dragon SpaceX go save the astronauts from the ISS stuff? You're precious. I just find you so innocent and pure. But I have some things to show you. First, what you need to know is that the ISS is supposedly traveling at a whopping 17,000 miles per hour at all times. It doesn't speed up or slow down, otherwise, it can't stay in orbit. And while there seems to be some discrepancy in how fast it looks like it's moving. Here it is as Dragon is coming into dock. And well, it doesn't look like it's moving at all. And the Earth, it's just barely inching along there. But when you go to it ejecting, something changes drastically. A lot of motion here from both the Earth or the ISS. One of the two looks like it's moving. Supposedly they both are at great speeds. Now I want to show you some.
Okay, so his argument, first of all, is regarding the speed of the ISS, the International Space Station, and how Earth looks like it's moving slowly at one point and then fast at the other. Again, this is just physics. And if my man would have actually paid attention to just remedial physics in school, he would understand why it looks vastly different. why why this is not fake and it's real. So the International Space Station is in space. Um, now look, it doesn't have engines to travel like spaceships or other spacecraft, but I do believe it can, it can jettison air from time to time to change its positions or do whatever. But it is basically at will to the gravitational pull of being in orbit around Earth. At that same time, you have to look at it like if you had a basketball that I mean, hell, just take it like the moon. If you look at the space station like the moon, where it's looking at Earth, and Earth is rotating, and the space station is rotating with Earth. It is rotating the same speed, almost the same speed, if not the same speed, with Earth going around. So your perspective from a space station, even though you're speeding, as he said, at 17,000 miles an hour, to us that would be like, oh, holy crap. But when you're in space, where gravity is exceptionally different than what it is on Earth, you don't feel those G's, and it's not gonna look like you're going like this. It's just gonna be a slow movement. It is not gonna be where the Earth is just gonna be rotating like this, and the International Space Station is just sitting there hanging out. It also has to deal with your perspective of where the camera's at. Also, if you look at this last bit here,
Go to it,
the
eject.
reason why the Earth now looks like it's rotating more is because they're
Something
it's
changes
this is pushing
drastically. A
back
lot of motion here from both
in
the
the
Earth
opposite
or
motion,
the
and I'm
ISS. One
sure
of
the
the
space
two
station was
looks
possibly
like it's
possibly
moving.
going in the opposite
Supposedly,
motion as
they.
well. And when you go in the opposite motion of something rotating towards you, yeah, it's going to look faster. What do you think bowling pins see when a ball is rolling at it? It doesn't look like, oh my God, that thing's not going to come here. It's just hanging out. No, it looks like they're about to get murdered. Um, so my ice wall flat earther friend really needs to go back
Both
to
are
physics.
at great speeds.
He
Now
could
I
have
want to
just
show you
he
some
could have
footage from
he could
the
have
Joe
googled it
Rogan
like he
show when he
googled
had
how
an
fast the
astronaut
space
on
station
and
is moving.
paid close attention to what the astronaut says, confirming how fast they're moving.
Can prepare you for everything except for the visual. When you get up there and you see the
Oh
whole
yeah,
Earth
we're
moving,
living.
some people go out there and get like a sense of fear of falling. But of course, if you let go, you're not going anywhere. Right. The space station's moving 17,500 miles an hour, but so are you.
Wow, space is magical. It's amazing.
He really does not understand gravity, does he? Physics in general.
How slow 17,000 miles per hour looks when you're up in space. It's magical.
Okay, I should have stopped right there. He's got that bottom huge jaw with the lisp. That should tell me enough about him and his intelligence.
How does space do that? It slows things down even though they're going so fast. Let me show you what just 6,599 miles per hour looks like from this supersonic sled. Check it out. Six.
Okay, dipshit. One is on Earth, the other is floating in space where there is little to no gravity. Has your small minded, naturalite drinking, coke snorting ass thought about that? Are we this stupid in this country now that we think that the physics of gravity on Earth are the same as if you're floating in space? This is just where it gets ridiculous with people. How this is where he's so focused and so living in his own bubble to prove that there's an ice wall, to prove that this is fake, to prove that the earth is flat, that he ignores the actual science, the actual physics of what the hell is going on here. Oh, well, yeah. Well, he's floating in space at 17,000 miles an hour. How come it's not affecting him? Look how slow it's moving. Because they're rotating with Earth at the same time. How is that? How is that? And the gravity is completely different than what it is on Earth. I mean, honestly, hey, dumbass, if we're rotating at the same speed as the International Space Station, why aren't we just piles of goo on Earth? Shouldn't that be affecting us? But I guess in his world, it wouldn't, right? It wouldn't. It wouldn't. My bad. My bad. This
1,000
is
miles per
physics.
hour. And let's take a look again. This time,
Let's take
let's
a
look
look
at
again, please. But we're not
half speed.
explaining that it's gravity that's affecting the speed here, and also the little to no gravity that's affecting the
And now
speed in
this is
space.
supposedly 3 times faster at 17,000 miles per hour. And I know what some of you are going to say, but perspective, the Earth is so far away that it just doesn't really look like it's moving. Well, that's fine. You can say that, but let's at least be consistent. Here's that 17,000 miles per hour again, or the Earth in something's not right here. Something's not consistent.
Honestly, I shouldn't even spend time with him once I saw he was wearing an ice wall hat. I should have just left this video alone. I mean, his intelligence is maybe at 80.
And I'm telling you, start looking at these things with an inquisitor's eye instead of a believer's eye. Now I want to show you.
My man has a cross on too. He's a believer in Christ, but still thinks the world is an ice wall, is flat, and doesn't understand physics. Jesus is upstairs doing the face palm.
Something else. You know what else travels at 17,000 miles per hour? The space rockets that are supposedly leaving Earth's orbit. They go at 17,000 miles per hour. And while the International Space Station is supposedly, and I say supposedly every time because supposedly it's only 254 miles high, orbiting the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not that far, right? So why did it take 29 hours to get there when it's going 17,000 miles per hour?
We need to hear that one more time.
And well, the International Space Station is supposedly, and I say supposedly every time because supposedly it's only 254 miles high, orbiting the Earth. So that's not that far, right? So why did it take 29 hours to get there when it's going 17,000 miles per hour?
Oh. I would just like to apologize to the rest of the world. America has, in fact, become the dumbest, uh, mouth breathing, nose picking, apparently believing in ice walls with other continents that are vastly superior in technology but never reach out to us. Morons on the face of the planet. Um, this guy right here is our chief president of stupidity and ignorance. All he has to do is Google why it takes 29 hours for a spacecraft to get to the International Space Station, and he'd have his answer. In fact, we'll do that right now. Let's ask Gork. Hey, Gork. Why does it take a spacecraft 29 hours to get to the ISS? Here we go. The journey from Earth to the International Space Station typically takes a spacecraft around 6 to 29 hours depending on the mission profile, launch vehicle, and rendezvous strategy. The 29-hour duration you might be referring to aligns with some of the more common flight paths, like those used by Soyuz spacecraft in the past or certain cargo missions. Here's why it takes so long. My man, all you had to do was find an average IQ AI, or hell, you could have gone to your neighbors and he could have typed it up for you, and you would have got your answer. Enjoy those natural lights, buddy. They're eating away at your brain cells. Excuse me. Clear my throat. Number 1, orbital mechanics. The ISS orbits Earth at an altitude of 400 kilometers, 250 miles, moving at roughly 17,500 miles an hour. A spacecraft doesn't just shoot straight up. This guy must think it's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, like Marvin the Martian. You just shoot straight up. We're going to your planet. Like an elevator. Instead, it must enter an orbit and gradually adjust its trajectory to match the ISS position and speed. This involves a series of burns, engine fires, to shift from the initial launch orbit into a phasing orbit that catches up to the station. Because remember, it is actually moving. Even though this guy is completely confused and utterly useless to the human species. That guy's married. His wife has to be the breadwinner. There's no way with that low intel. Well, hell, he's making it off TikTok, and all you idiots on TikTok eat this crap up. He's probably making freaking almost 10,000 a month off this nonsense because you morons will sit there and, oh yeah, he's totally right. He's totally completely right. There's aliens that killed JFK, Bigfoot's in the White House, and ducks are melting the ice caps. Phasing and rendezvous. After launch, a spacecraft enters a lower orbit and uses Earth's curvature, because we're not flat, we're curved, to chase the ISS. The 29-hour timeline often includes multiple orbits, sometimes 34 or more, to fine-tune the approach. For example, older Soyuz missions followed a 2-day profile but were optimized over time to about 24 to 34 hours depending on the launch window and alignment. The spacecraft needs to align its orbit with the ISS and time its arrival precisely. Because you can't, if you miss, it's going to take you another rotation around the Earth. Maybe another 24 hours. Safety and precautions. Rushing the trip isn't particularly safe, practical or safe. The spacecraft must perform several maneuvers. Okay. Launch windows. The exact duration depends on when and where the spacecraft launches. The ISS orbits Earth every 90 minutes, but the launch site, IG Space Kennedy Center, or this one is in Russia, I believe, must align with the ISS's orbital plane. If the timing is slightly off, the spacecraft may need extra orbits to catch up. For comparison, some missions like SpaceX Crew Dragon can now reach the ISS in as little as 6 hours using a fast-track profile with fewer orbits. However, 29 hours is still typical for many flights, especially if the prioritized fuel efficiency or needed extra time for checks is a balance of physics, which this guy clearly does not know anything of or care about. He probably was in high school and somebody telling me how to take physics. He's like, I already play football. I hit my head on the wall every day. Engineering and mission goals, not a straight line sprint. So again, this idiot only had to, what he did, Google the speed of the ISS, could have answered his own question and educated himself instead of making himself look like a conspiracy, low IQ, mouth breathing, natural light drowning in his nostrils while sitting in a kiddie pool with his fat ass gut hanging out, yelling at the neighbors to cut their lawn and handle it quicker than this. But let's continue.
A typical airplane travels at a cruising
All right,
speed
we're
of
going with
about
how fast
500
planes
or
fly
600
because
miles
that
per
has
hour.
something to do with
So
what
for an
we're
airplane
dealing
going
with
500
here.
or
All right,
600 miles per hour, it would
here we
only
go.
take about an hour to an hour and 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes to travel 254 miles.
Uh-huh.
Yet the Dragon, that's going 17,000 miles per hour,
Mm-hmm.
took 29 hours to.
Oh, man. Oh, we live in such a world now where you can. It's not like when I was a kid growing up. And obviously, this guy probably grew up around the same time I did, which, God, I hope he's not from Florida. But he probably is. Oh, God. But I grew up in a time period where you had to actually ask. Or if somebody didn't know, you were told to either find a book that possibly had the answer in it, or go to the library or whatever to find your answer, and that's what you relied on. Now, was all the information correct? Maybe not. I mean, I'm not going to say that everything was completely correct that we were being told or got, but we actually had to investigate and do our own search and use our own brain power to figure these things out. And yet here we are, where we have technology where if anybody has a question, you can pull your phone and you can ask your phone, the little person that lives in your phone, why is this not fake, or why is this real, or why does this affect this? And you will get your answer. Yet jackholes like this, and again, he's probably making like 10 grand a month off TikTok or whatever, because you got all these other dunderheads that their brains are just bouncing up and down from their asshole to their head that love this crap and believe he's. I'm pissing myself off. Gravity, you dipshit. That's why there's a difference in times as far as how it takes so long to do something. And plus, we explained why it took 29 hours. Gorky. Thank you. It was a simple thing that you could have done instead of making yourself look like a complete tool bag. But please persist.
Reach the ISS, which is again just
Uh
orbiting
huh.
the Earth at supposedly 254 miles
Mm-hmm.
high. Maybe these rockets that they tell
Okay,
us
again,
travel
look,
at
look, look.
supposedly.
Right here, he asked, how high up is the ISS? You know what he needs to ask here? How to look stupid for the rest of the world and be a complete asshole. There's you. This is what the picture would have been right here. Would have been this guy. Right there.
254 miles high.
Ice wall.
Maybe these
Bunch of
rockets
ice
that
wall
they
on your
tell us
asshole.
travel at these tremendous speeds, like 17,000 miles per hour, aren't traveling as
Oh,
fast as they say.
now we're getting into the rocket speed, and it's wrong button, and it's just ridiculous.
That looks like a balloon slowly launching up into the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not only are they not going as fast, maybe they're not going to the places they tell us they're going to. I mean, have you ever seen what the flight paths look like?
Okay. Okay, hold on. Wait. Is he trying to say that this is going straight up?
ISS, which is again just orbiting the Earth at supposedly
I got. Sorry, my speakers are over here.
254
I'm leaning.
miles high. Maybe these rockets that they tell us travel at these tremendous speeds, like 17,000 miles per hour, aren't traveling as fast as they say. That looks like a balloon slowly launching up into the atmosphere. And maybe not only are they not going as fast, maybe they're not going to the places they tell us they're going to. I mean, have you ever seen what the flight paths look like?
Okay, I gotta walk away for a second. Jesus Christ! I hope that guy didn't have any fucking kids. His kids are smarter than him. He could have asked his kids; they would have explained why all this stuff does what it does. Jesus, they need to call. They need to call local protection service and have his kids taken from his house because they're just Jesus. They're probably smarter than him. What the hell? Would anybody like to explain to him why the trails look like they're curving? I know it's going to be hard for him because he's a flat earther and he thinks everything should shoot straight up in the air. For those that don't know, the Earth is round. So when a spaceship leaves, it might, for us, with the camera angles and our view, it might look like it's going straight up. And for a while there, it does. But if you don't notice, it actually begins to rotate or roll. And as it's entering the upper atmosphere, it begins to get that trajectory of the curvature of the Earth. So, because there's this thing, and I forget what the effect is, but when spaceships come back down to Earth, they have to hit it at a precise angle because if they hit it too high or too low, they bounce off. It just bounces off because of the gravity and the physics. It would just bounce. So they have to hit it at a certain angle as they're coming back in to penetrate Earth's atmosphere to make it through. I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure that's the same angle you have to take to leave the atmosphere because if you go too high or too low, you're just bouncing off. That's why you also have an angle. But as far as Flippy Jim Ice Wall Trucker dipshit here, I don't know.
Oh, hey, speaking of balloons.
I love his faces too. Like he thinks he's actually proven something by looking like a Muppet. Hello, boys and girls. Let me completely fuck up your education by telling you bullshit. Like this face is going to convince you that none of this is real. That we've never been to space. That the world is flat and there's an. I've never seen a more punchable face in my life, honestly.
Oh, hey, speaking of balloons, did you ever see when NASA jettisoned one of its giant metal 1,000-pound fuel tanks and how it looked like a balloon just slowly meandering, making its way back down to Earth? Do you know what I want to do for you since I find you so cute
Okay,
and
what was the point
adorable?
of
I
that?
want to jettisoned one of its
Yeah.
giant metal 1,000-pound fuel tanks and how it looked like a balloon just slowly meandering, making its way back down to Earth. Do you know what I want to do?
Wow, yeah. I can't. I mean, there's no point to even continue to play this because he's just proving himself an idiot. The reason why there are effects like that, the reason why it's coming down slowly is because when they jettison that fuel rocket, they're in a different atmosphere of Earth where the gravity is completely different. And at the speed of the rotation of the Earth, from where they let it go, it is actually above or even, so it's going to look like it's just floating until it breaks through that piece of the atmosphere and then gravity catches it and yanks the shit out of it. And even then, if you're far away from it and you're looking straight up in the air, it's going to look like it's just slowly floating down because of your depth perception, because of how far or how close you are away from it. It's like when you're at a NASCAR race. When you see them go the opposite way around the track from you, it looks like they're going slow as hell because that's the length that's far away. And then right when they come up around and right when they get up under you, boom, they're flying through. In this guy's mind, that would be fake because why aren't they just going like this the entire time around the track? Because physics, dipshit. Because of the perception from a physical being of who you are in the physical world correlates differently. It looks like it's going. Things look like they're slower from you from far away because of how things translate back to your eyeballs. They're actually going 200, 300 miles an hour. It doesn't look like it's that, from being on the opposite side of the track, but they still are. It's not that they slow down going and went, oh, wait, we're further away from everybody. We only need to do 60 miles an hour. And then when we get right back over, let's scare the crap out of those redneck crackers and hit it at 80 miles an hour and then head it up to 200 and blow their ears off. I'm losing my train of thought because this guy is a moron. And I hope it's one of these things that he's like a character and he's just doing this nonsense to make money because you do have people like that online. They play certain characters to make money, and that's fine. That's whatever. Do you think? But come on, man. We live in a world. Sorry, that was my phone. We live in a world again where you can get the answers to anything so fast, and you can get, quite frankly, probably close to 100% correct on what the answer is you're looking for. It may not be the answer that you're looking for. It might be completely opposite of what you expected or what you wanted, but you're going to get it. And the fact that people still believe stuff like this, which I mean, of course, then people go, well, AI, they can train it to say whatever it needs, or that's just how the government wants you to believe. I'm like, fine, we're never going to get you to believe anything. That's fine, whatever. And I've learned that if somebody says 2 + 2 is 5, you don't argue with them. You let them go on with your life. And it's one of those things. If this guy came up to me and tried to convince me that all this stuff was going on, I'd be like, you know what, fine, good for you. But to try to promote it on this level, to which I mean, he doesn't have a lot of likes, and a lot of this stuff is robots and fake, you know, porn bots and whatever that like it and retweet it and do whatever. But the fact that this crap is allowed, and we're gonna hit it with let's hit it with a community note because we gotta just, this is stupid. Um, man, and this person here, the circumference of the Earth is so it's 70 miles per hour, which is they would be lapping the Earth every 1.5 since their altitude is negligible. How it appears underneath would depend on the difference between the orbit velocity and rational velocity of the Earth underneath, which is basically he probably looked up Gork and wrote this stuff down. So this person tried to explain it, and I'm sure somebody had a response to it saying that it's fake or some nonsense like that. It's never been to space. It's in a pool. Okay, this guy believes it's in a pool. So yeah, so the astronauts that came back yesterday, he's showing the simulation in the pool. This is how the astronauts train everybody. This is how they train. They train in pools because it gives you the feel of what it's like to to not have gravity like you are in space. This has been going on since the 60s. Hell, maybe even before the 60s, but they train in pools. So let's not try to. And here he goes trying to make this nonsense up again. And okay, yeah, back to this stuff. That this is okay. So let's see how he finished it. I'm curious.
To the ISS because it's going so fast, and even though it was going so fast, it still took 29 hours going 17,000 miles per hour when it was only 250 miles away. And like I said, entertainment only. Just like I'm sure these are all curved because it's going around the curve of the Earth. Entertainment only.
God, I hope he's playing a character. Honest to God, for the love of baby Christmas Jesus, I hope he's playing a character. I hope he honestly does not believe himself. I hope he sits there at the end of the day and laughs his ass off about how he's making money off putting these fake videos out, because Jesus Christ, that almost gave me a goddamn migraine. If he's legit and he honestly believes it, which I mean he has an ice wall hat, so he probably does, and he believes it's nonsense, he needs to be put in a home. His family needs to get a hold of him and say, hey, listen, we just want you to get checked out for about 48 hours, about the time it took the spacecraft to get to the space station. If you could, please, just for the love of God and for the love of America and for the love of the world, let's just have yourself checked. And if there's nothing wrong with you, then fine. But I seriously hope that he just plays a character. I hope if anybody knows this, I don't have TikTok. I just I don't care for social media. If you know of him on TikTok, if you follow him on TikTok or whatever, please let me know if he's actually real or if he's actually a character. Because I hope for everything good, he is a character and that he is from West Virginia. Because if he's from Florida, I don't need that in my state. We already have enough dumbasses in here as it is, anyways. I don't need another one thinking that there's an ice wall, the world is flat, and that whole thing was fake yesterday. I mean, oh, damn. What are we doing? What are we doing out here? Um, God, I think I had other topics to even talk about, and that just there just completely blew my train of thought as far as what I wanted to talk about out. Um, yeah, there's nothing else on here that I worry about talking about right now. All right, so we'll call it on that. The tournament, the basketball tournament's on. It started this week. Get your picks in if you haven't. I'll keep track of mine, keep them out there for you. Besides that, we'll call it right then and there, and we'll be back with another video as soon as something else drives me up a damn wall, I guess, you know. But seriously, folks, get out more. Don't get off social media. Don't spend your time looking at your goddamn phone all day or watching Netflix or whatever. Actually enjoy a day if it's a beautiful side. If it's beautiful outside. Don't don't walk around looking at your goddamn phone the whole time you're out there. Just enjoy you know, some sunlight. I mean, some of you guys are pasty as hell anyways. Jesus. All right. But again, find that good earth and dig it, all right? All right now. Peace.